For those of us with a liking of classical music, we are familiar with the words and music of the great oratorio Messiah by George Frederick Handel. But old Bill Jones from Golka, a little village in the West Riding of Yorkshire, had never been to a performance and tried to persuade a friend to go with him to the Huddersfield Town Hall to hear the famous choral society. But his friend refused. "Nay," he said, "that sort of music's nowt in my line. I like a good comic song or a lively jig, but I reckon nowt to this sacred stuff, as they call it. It's beyond me. And another thing, there'll be none of our sort there. It'll be mostly religious folks and swells done up in boiled shirts and women with nowt much on. You go there sen, and then you can tell me all about it sometime." So Bill went by himself, and the next time the old pals met, the following conversation took place. "Well, come on, how did you get on at Messiah?" "Well," said Bill, "it were fair champion. I wouldn't have missed it for all the tea in China. When I got there, the town hall were crowded. It was chock full of folk, and I had a job to get a seat. But no wonder. It was taken all up with them singers. They took up half the gallery. There was a chap larking about on the organ. He weren't playing nowt in particular, just running his fingers up and down, as if he were practicing. Well, after a bit, a lot of chaps came in carrying fiddles. Then they brought in the Messiah. Well, that's what I took it to be. It were the biggest instrument on platform, and it were covered in a big green bag. Any road, they took the bag off it, and then a bloke rubbed its belly with a stick, and you should have heard it groan. It was somewhat like a dying cow. I was just thinking of going when a little chap came on, all dolled up in a white waistcoat and with flour in his buttonhole, and everything went dead quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. He had a stick in his hand, and he started waving it about, and all the singers stared at him. I reckon they were wondering what was the matter with him. Then they started to sing. They hadn't been going long before they were fighting. I reckon he should have walloped one or two with stick. First one side said they were king of glory, then t'other side said they were. And they went at it, hammer and tongs, but it fizzled out. So I've no idea which side won. Then there was a bit of bother about some sheep that was lost. I don't know who they belonged to, but one lot of singers must have been very fond of mutton, because they kept on singing, "Oh, we like sheep." Couldn't help saying to the bloke next to me that sheep's all right in moderation, but I like a bit of beef myself. He looked at me daggers and said, "Shh." So I shushed. A lot of women stood up after that, and all of them looked as if they were, well, getting on a bit. Some of them must have been 64 if there was a day. They sang, "Unto us a child is born." And the chap sang back, "Wonderful." And I thought, wonderful? It's a blooming miracle. After that, they sobered down a bit and sang about a lass called Joyce Greatly. I've never heard of her myself, but the chaps had, because they all looked mighty pleased about it. Then some bloke got up and said he was King of Kings. And another one said he was. And then, blow me, they all started arguing about it. I was getting a bit fed up when everybody stood up to see what the matter was, and they suddenly shouted, "Hallelujah, it's going to rain forever and ever." Well, at that, I jumped up and made straight for the door. I'd had my money's worth, and besides, I was thinking that if it was going to rain forever and ever, I'd better get home before the flood came. It was a real good do, though. You should have come. But, oh, I do hope they find them sheep.